This is immigration attorney Parviz Malakouti, and one common issue with green card holders, especially in the year 2020 with the onset of coronavirus, is what does a green card holder do if they have to spend a long time outside of the United States and they don't want to risk losing their green card? It's an important issue, it's a common issue, it's one that I'm going to address in this video. So first of all, just to take a quick step back to frame the issue, one requirement of having a green card, maintaining a green card, and being able to apply for naturalization is that one must maintain what is called continuous residence according to immigration law, US immigration law. Continuous residence basically means that you show that you are living your life and spending your life and establishing your life continuously within the United States. This is important to know, and this is a different requirement from the physical presence requirement of more than 6 months per year on average for the 5 years before one applies for naturalization. So continuous residence and physical presence, two separate but related concepts that oftentimes get mixed up. In this video, we're talking about continuous residence, which is really the more important factor for determining whether a green card holder is at risk for having their green card being abandoned. So now, first and foremost, if a green card holder is able to come back to the United States within 6 months, let's say for example 5 months, 5.5 months, that's what they should do. That's important. That's the best course of action if possible. Now, for many green card holders, that's not possible. They may have a work obligation that requires them to stay outside for 6 months. They may have a sick relative. They may be sick themselves and be unable to travel for 6 months or 7 months or 10 months or whatever. So in that case, if a green card holder is outside of the country for between 6 months and 12 months, or if the green card holder knows that they're going to be outside of the country or at risk even of being outside of the country for 6 or 12 months before they leave, there are things that a green card holder can do ahead of time in order to prepare themselves to basically build their profile in case they have to ever defend against an allegation of abandonment of green card from US immigration, whether it be by CBP or an immigration court or in USCIS. Now, what can a green card holder do? What are these actions? So to answer this question, I'm going off of, first and foremost, the Code of Federal Regulations, 8 CFR 315.5A, which I'm going to link to below in the video description, as well as my personal experience as an immigration lawyer. So first of all, the Code of Federal Regulations lists factors that are to be considered in determining whether a green card holder has abandoned their residency. These are not all the factors. These are just factors that are listed. The factors that are listed in the Code of Federal Regulations are not exhaustive. That means that these are some factors that can be considered, but they're not necessarily all of them. So let's get into them right now. The first factor in showing that a green card holder did not abandon their residency is the applicant did not terminate his or her employment in the United States. So if at all possible to maintain your employment, even if it's taking a leave of absence for a period of time, that's one thing that you would want to do if possible. The second factor, the applicant's immediate family remained in the United States. Now this one, sometimes people don't really have much control over this. This actually is related to other people. Maybe you have to bring your family with you when you go abroad, but if at all possible to have a member or more members of the immediate family stay in the United States while you're abroad, or for at least during a portion that you are abroad, that's a factor that would work to your advantage. Number 3, the applicant retained full access to his or her United States abode. So this is an important one. This basically means, did you maintain a home in the United States during that period that you were abroad for 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 months? Very, very important one. Okay, so if at all possible, you want to maintain your home, maintain an apartment, I know that could be costly, or maintain access to some sort of abode in the United States. I actually had an interview, by the way, earlier this year in which I was representing a couple that was applying for naturalization. They spent over 6 months outside of the United States, and it came down to, in the interview, an analysis, or at least one factor in the analysis was whether that couple still had access to their home in the United States while they were abroad. So that's an important one. And then D, the applicant did not obtain employment while abroad. So if you leave the United States for 7 months, you go pick up a job somewhere else and you're working full time, that signals to immigration that you're not a green card holder anymore. You're not making your residency in the United States, you've abandoned it. So again, that could be a tricky one because some people need to work to live even if they're abroad. But if at all possible, you want to avoid getting employment abroad if you're going to be abroad for more than 6 months. Okay, so those are the 4 factors that are listed in the Code of Federal Regulations. But like I said, this list is not exhaustive. So here are my additional factors to those factors listed by the Code of Federal Regulations. And these are things that in my estimation, could or would help an applicant show that they did not abandon continuous residency, they did not break continuous residency when they were outside the United States. So the first one on my list is continue paying your taxes in the United States. This is an important one, okay? So you want to continue paying your taxes, even if you're abroad for more than a year. If you want to have that green card and keep that green card, you still need to be declaring and paying taxes. The next one is if you have an automobile, keep your automobile in the United States, keep your registration, keep your car insurance. That shows that you're still considering the United States as your home, even if you're spending a longer period of time. That also shows that if you had to spend a long period of time outside the United States, it wasn't necessarily planned. It could have been something that came up unexpectedly. The next one is maintain your bank accounts in the United States. If you're going to be abroad, don't clear out all of your United States bank accounts, or stop having transactions. If you maintain your bank accounts, if you keep having transactions in the United States, that's something else that shows that you're still considering the US to be your home. Number 4 is related to the last one, which is maintain your credit cards. Same thing. If you have credit cards in the United States, maybe you want to make a charge on them every now and then, at least to show that you're still having your credit cards, you're still basically maintaining your financial profile in the United States. And the last suggestion that I have is maintain membership in any local professional organizations. Let me give you an example. I'm a lawyer. I'm involved in many local professional organizations. AILA, American Immigration Lawyers Association. I'm involved with ACLU, other organizations that are local to me. I maintain, let's say for example, I'm a green card holder, I want to go abroad, maintain my membership in those organizations, maintain involvement in those organizations if you're volunteering with them or if you're involved in any type of projects. These are things, again, that can show, that can signal to immigration that you're still considering yourself to be resident in the United States. Now, as a practical matter, how does this issue present itself? And there's one of 3 common ways that this issue of residency presents itself. The first one is, and the one that I think most people are scared of, is not being able to enter back into the United States. You have a green card, you leave the United States, let's say you're abroad for 9 months, you try to come back in after 9 months, CBP says, hold on, wait a minute. We think that you might have abandoned your green card. They take you to secondary inspection, they start asking you questions. Okay, they start asking for documentation. Well, you've been abroad for 9 months. How do we know that you didn't abandon your residency? That's the first way it can present itself. The second way it can present itself is if you are a green card holder, you're abroad for 7 months, 8 months, you come back and then you apply for naturalization. One of the requirements for naturalization is the applicant has to have maintained continuous residence for the previous 5 years or 3 years if the applicant is applying for naturalization based on marriage. But in this case, let's say 5 years. If you apply for naturalization and you had an absence of 7 or 8 months, even if you still meet the physical presence requirement, you still may have a USCIS officer that's challenging whether you broke continuous residence. And that, by the way, is the issue that was encountered in the example I spoke about earlier, in which I was representing a couple in a naturalization interview. So that's a second context in which this issue could present itself, is if you are before USCIS in a naturalization interview being challenged on continuous residence. The third common context that this can appear in is related to the first one. You come back into the United States, you're trying to come back to the United States with a green card, you've been abroad for 8-9 months. CBP, maybe they say, okay, we're gonna let you in this time, but you know what? You're getting a notice to appear. You're gonna be in immigration court because we think you abandoned your residency. Then you have to go to immigration court. That's deportation court. You might find yourself defending yourself before a judge. By the way, get a lawyer always if you're in removal proceedings. You might be before an immigration judge having to prove that you did not abandon continuous residence. So in those cases, any one of those 3 cases, doing these things that we spoke about, both that were mentioned in the Code of Federal Regulations, as well as my additional list, having documentation for those can and will help you. This is not a guarantee. Doing these things is not going to guarantee that you're going to be deemed to have not abandoned your green card, but undoubtedly, taking these actions is going to improve your chances of being able to maintain that green card. Anyway, I hope this video helps. If you need a consultation, feel free to contact my office. I'm a California licensed immigration attorney based in LA, but represent clients from all over the world, all over the United States. That's it. Have a great one. Good luck. And if you're traveling, make sure you have a lot of fun.